Hey everyone, let's wait for Clement or Matt to join. They should join.
Matt's out sick today.
Are you still sick?
Yeah, he just rescheduled one of our meetings, saying that he's not feeling well, so most likely he will not be joining us today.
Okay. So Clement is here. I think we can kickstart the meeting. Open the agenda. Okay. Nadia, you have the first one.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm currently running a card sort for GitLab operations documentation, which is a research effort for us to try to understand what are the mental models that we have about operations features and how do we categorize this information, which will help us come up with a better structure and content for the docs. So if you have the time, it would only take about 20 minutes. I would like to ask you to participate. Your feedback would be super valuable for us because the more responses that we get, the more patterns we will see. So please take the time to do that. Thank you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I also linked the issue there that gives like a more detailed explanation for this effort and what we're trying to achieve.
Well, thank you for running this, Nadia. This is extremely important to improve our documentation. So I encourage all of you to participate in this effort. Thanks. I think you have the second one as well.
Yeah, I just want to point out that we have an interesting discussion happening in that 12.9 retrospective issue. Adrian brought up an important point about the quality of the product that we're shipping and how we're doing MRs and whatnot. So please contribute to the discussion. Maybe we can have a conversation about it here. I don't really have an specific point that I wanted to add to this. Just wanted to kind of bring your attention to this and ask to participate if you want. Adrian, if you want, you can also talk about this, but I just figured I would add this to the agenda because it's an important conversation.
Miguel, you had a comment. You want to?
Maybe I can jump in.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention that I hope that out of the discussion we can have something actionable. I'm thinking we could start the discussion by asking what we can do to improve our UX process and our UX review process, and yeah, see what we can do to make sure that things that are affecting the UX negatively don't impact. And I know that Nadia has been reviewing at least my merge requests, but perhaps we want to do something more thorough with videos, or I try to post screenshots, but maybe this is not enough. So something like also helping Nadia set up the GTK for different situations, etc. I think that would be the hopefully the outcome of the discussion.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. I've been thinking about it, and for sure, one of the things I'm doing is setting up the GTK with metrics and logs. I already had one failed attempt at this a couple months back, so I'm attempting it again. I'm actually talking to Mikolai tomorrow, so hopefully we'll be able to figure it out. So that for sure will be super helpful for me to be able to really dive in and check all the nitty-gritty stuff. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be asking for more video recordings, just screen recordings of features when we can check any stays, if anything scales, in a weird way. Usually I do that, but I agree. I think we need to make sure that we're as thorough as possible in reviews. Yeah, if anyone has any specific feedback for what UX could be doing to ensure that the quality of the products that we're shipping is good, just let me know. Open to any feedback.
Hey, sorry, I just had audio issues before. So I think I agree that video reviews could be great. I also wanted to mention you were looking at setting up review apps in one of my MRs a couple of weeks ago. I wonder if you ever figured out how to do it or how to use them, because I think that would be useful as well, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about review apps. I've been told that they are created automatically, but apparently not every time. So I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can shine light on this issue. How we can have functional review apps for MRs.
Never used them before, so I don't know.
Yeah, so in general, review apps are useful, but for features like monitoring, because we have to connect it to a live Kubernetes instance, have data flowing through, it's going to be very difficult to use review apps for us. So I've been talking to Sophia about this as well. It would be nice if we could do something special for environments like review apps, where we don't necessarily have to depend on a live Kubernetes instance, but we mock the data, but that's still in discussion. But at this stage, I don't think we can take full advantage of review apps because, yeah, we can't deploy to a Kubernetes instance, so we have no data. So our best bet is to pull it to your local box and run it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Will it work with the like Minikube?
I haven't tried it with Minikube. Maybe if you have Minikube deployed in some Kubernetes cluster, I guess, I don't know, but I haven't tried. I've
No,
only tried Minikube.
I mean locally. I mean like deploy Minikube locally and run it from there.
In my experience, trying to connect to Minikube has been very bad. There have been a lot of issues with that, and it's very difficult and it's just a waste of time. Connecting to a Kubernetes cluster is much easier and straightforward. But it does take time to do that. And once you have everything set up, there still needs to be data in that for you to see the dashboards. So it is time taking. But once you set it up, I'm sure for the next couple of months, you'll be good until something breaks. So I think
from the logs point of view, Elasticsearch is very resource intensive, so it doesn't make sense to try to run it locally. I mean, just the basic Elasticsearch install we use requests, I think, 4 or 5 gigs of memory. So you wouldn't be able to run that locally anyway.
Okay, so only on a cluster somewhere, like in Google Cloud or something like that.
Yeah, but we do have a very detailed tutorial on how to set up GDK with Kubernetes cluster on GCP, so it shouldn't be really time consuming to set it up.
Yeah, is it the one that Tristan recorded?
Yeah, that's the one. And there's also textual documentation in the GDK repository.
Yeah, I've been following that and working together with Tristan to actually enable metrics and logs, and we got stuck and weren't able to get past that. Actually, well, we probably would succeed if we put in many more hours, but there was no time. Yeah, we got stuck with some problems with GitLab Runner, some problems running it locally or something. I don't remember exactly what the issues were, but there were some complications. So I'm trying to kind of investigate what can be done.
Do you need an engineer from the APM side?
Yeah.
Or hey, we have a volunteer.
Yeah, I was just going to say we have a call in Friday. We can talk about it if you want. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, Yeah, that'd be helpful. I'm also having a call with Nikolai tomorrow
Yeah,
specifically to talk about that. So I already asked for help, but thank you very much. If we get really stuck, then we might talk about it on Friday as well.
Yeah, ask for the other pair of eyes to help us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Mikulash went through it more recently than I, so he's probably going to have a better memory of it.
Maybe if I can piggyback on that, I would very much like to do that as well. And similar to Nadia, I've also got stuck and simply didn't have the time to do that. And it would be great if you are doing that already, so we can do that together, or maybe record it, because if it's tomorrow, I won't be able to attend. Or if it's possible to push it for next week on Monday, if it's not so urgent, so I can attend as well. And we can do it one time, so all of us can be aligned.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that. I'll send you an invite. If we decide to move it, I'll send you an invite. I'll just message you on Slack about it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to mention something about the documentation of the on-dog-footed dashboard.
Maybe it was just before we will go to the so for the retro, we'll probably have a lot of points to discuss. I think it's best that all of us will go read through that, and maybe next week we can surface some of those points. We can discuss and see if we have some action plan to do. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love that we come up with something that is very actionable in that discussion there.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, I mean, all of us should really be aware that the retro means for us to work better. It doesn't imply that the work that we do is not good or not good enough. We want to be better and work more efficient. So take this into consideration when you read through the retro issues. Okay, Miguel, you had the next one.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention the documentation on dog fooding. Dirash just mentioned that this was covered in the previous meeting, but I would like to bring it up again because I could not find my way through the things that were already done. I would suggest that at least we start by filling out the README in the metrics of fooding and say how it works. I don't have maintainer access to that project, and that's okay. But for me, it would be interesting to know there's a round book, and the round book is the one that is used to generate those YAML files, and what are the goals that we want to achieve. And also, I don't know if we have an issue tracker for all these dashboards. I don't know if I should use the issue tracker of that project or if we want to use our own issue tracker there. So just a little bit of more maybe discussion about the process. So where should we go to find stuff? I think that should be the first step.
I think
for right now,
yeah, go ahead.
I think for right now, it's constantly evolving. I mean, originally at the quarter, it was to port 20 dashboards over or to clone them, but it has since evolved into, hey, let's identify one dashboard so we can replace it. So in terms of Grafana, cloning it and then turning it off on Grafana itself. And so since it's constantly evolving, it's a little bit hard to keep up. I agree. So far, the only source of truth that we have is that issue data linked with the OKR that Sam's been kind of updating the rest of the company kind of where we're at. So I would say for now, that's kind of the log of what we're doing and probably the best place. Things are constantly evolving, so it's a little bit hard, like you say. Maybe there's a better way we can surface this, maybe in the handbook. But yeah.
There is a
Thanks.
bi-weekly meeting with the info team. Obviously, all of you are invited. It's on Wednesday. It's me, Clement, Matt, and members of the info team. You know, you can. I'm posting the recording. I've posted the recording. I can link it also to this issue if it's not there. I remember that I posted on Slack, but all the meetings are recorded and shared. So don't feel like you have to be there, but if you want to stay on top, you can definitely watch that. It's a 30-minute meeting.
Did you say it's
Cool, thank you.
it's on Wednesday?
Yes, it's on Wednesday. It's bi-weekly, so it's next week.
Yeah, it's not on the monitor stage calendar, so let's make it an effort this week to change it to there so everyone can see it.
Okay. Just let me know who I need to send it in order to do that. Okay. Ruben, you're next.
So I just want to mention that there is a discussion happening on what should be the format for using templating variables in our custom dashboards. So everyone is invited to join into that discussion.
Yeah. Want to say a few words about this issue in general, so all of us will be aligned?
Sure. So if you've seen Grafana dashboards that the infrastructure team creates, they usually have at the top a row of variables with dropdowns where you can select values. So we want to implement something similar in our dashboards. And this is a discussion for what should be the format to define variables in the dashboard YAML file.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be starting with basic types of variables, single select with hard-coded values, and a free text box where the user can just type in any value.
Yeah, and generally speaking on the project, we'll start with defining those variables on the backend or the YAML file. And as we progress in future iteration, we'll create some sort of a UI. So it will be easier for the user to create those, but that's something that is not yet scoped. So right now it's focused only on the backend definitions.
So when we say the drop downs in Grafana, are we referring to the environment, backend, and stage drop downs?
Right, yeah.
Okay, is this something that the user necessarily has to input in the YAML file? Because I feel like these are something that happen based on just a discovery of the services. And there's a query that runs to figure out what are all the environments, what all services there exist, and then it just populates instead of the user having to manually input these. So are we expecting the user to input these and then we surface them in the dropdown?
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is the query type that Grafana offers, query type of variable. So you define a variable with that type and you give it a Prometheus query, which Grafana will fire and use the result to populate the dropdown for that variable. So that is something that we've proposed in iteration 2, not part of the MVC.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because otherwise, if we want to surface something like the backend dropdown, I'm looking at the GitLab triage dashboard that we have, and the backend has about 15 services, and if the user has to input all these 15 services in the YAML file, it's not scalable. But your second iteration proposal seems like we're going in the right direction, at least to me. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I agree with you. Doesn't make sense for the user to type, you know, this name of services can be like also like, for instance, pod name. So you could not expect the user to put like a very long service name, host name, pod name, whatever. And we need to create some sort of a variable, like a query, and the list will be dynamic based on the query. And definitely something for the second iteration, but it needs to be scheduled like right after. It's not something that we'll need to wait until, at least this is how it. Okay, so that was the last item. Anything else we want to talk about?
Should we go through new bugs that have come in?
You're on mute.
Sorry, we're talking about new issues or bugs?
New bugs.
New bugs, okay. Having some challenges with GitLab. Anyone can share the screen and do that? Thank
I
you.
shared my screen for the bug board.
Thank you.
Do security issues also show up here? I'm not sure.
Probably. Should we pause the recording?
Yeah, might be
Yeah,
a
so
good
that
idea.